Welcome in. All right. This is a spin-off, so to speak, or at least a branch from Brain Void, your regularly scheduled programming. There's been a lot of talk about the eclipse, but the eclipse over Brain Void podcast is that Zach's life got a little bit busy for him, and he's taking a little bit of a hiatus. So in this dark moment for us, we will try to do our best to entertain you. He was definitely the energy of the show, so we will miss him, but hopefully we'll have him back sooner than later. But best of luck to Zach, and hopefully he has a successful semester at school. But in the meantime, you're hanging with the boys, the brothers. We're singing and we're dancing and we're white. So that's what this podcast is going to be. It's a bunch of two white guys coming from the same parents, similar perspectives, working at the same place. We'll see how interesting this gets in the next 45 to an hour.
I smell a sitcom.
Yeah. Well, just we make them cheap nowadays. It's about quantity over quality. That's what this podcast is all about. So with that being said, so like I said, we're going to miss Zach, and hopefully we can have him back on the original Brain Void. But until then, we got some topics we want to get into today. Again, speaking of the eclipse, Rick saw the eclipse. He went to Indiana, and we heard a lot of folks kind of panicking a little bit. At least if you're me and you're hanging out on TikTok at 3:00 in the morning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say conspiracies run wild when, the planets act like planets, and in our solar system and everything aligns and blocks out the sun for 5 minutes. Everybody freaks out and thinks Jesus is going to come and cream their quakes. But in that case, Rick, if you want to talk about your experience with the eclipse, and we'll kind of jump into that.
Yeah. So Brittany and I drove to Indiana, encountered a lot of traffic on the way there, but that's beside the point. The eclipse is really fucking cool. Like, going into it, I mean, you see pictures and whatever, but the pictures really don't do it justice. It was just, I don't know. It was just crazy how, like, even with the sun 99% covered, it was still so damn bright that you obviously couldn't look at it. But then as soon as it gets all the way covered, everything, it just gets dark, and all the animals start acting weird around you, and it instantly feels colder, and the sky went from blue to, you could all of a sudden see like Saturn and Jupiter and Mars and Venus and all the planets around the sun.
Wow.
It was just, I was just trying to pay attention to everything that was going on in that moment, in those 4 minutes. I was just trying to like look at everything that was happening, and it was overwhelming, but it was pretty cool to be like that present and not have to think. Like, I wasn't thinking about the drive home or anything else or what I did the day before. It was just being in that moment was something that I feel like a lot of people don't experience very often. And that was really fucking cool.
Yeah, no kidding. So when you say animals were acting differently around you, is that like, I'm assuming people probably brought their dogs, everybody's standing around each other, and
no, it was like the birds. Like, birds were flying around, and then it got dark, and they just instantly fucked off into the woods.
Really?
Like, they thought it was getting nighttime, and you could hear like the crickets start cricketing, I guess, chirping. And then as soon as the eclipse stopped, it just reverted back to normal. It was weird. Like, for 4 minutes, and they just went, oh, it's nighttime, I better go to fucking nest or whatever. And then 4 minutes later, they're like, oh shit, it's daytime, I'm gonna get up and fly around some more. I don't know. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think one thing, just hearing that for the first time now, it's something that you take for granted. I think, just how much, daylight or nighttime affects our, everything around us. And then, the ecosystems, the animals, the way everything's functioning. And, as humans, we kind of adapted ourselves to be able to function at night. We have folks that work night shifts and things like that. And, there's still transportation, there's still services out there. But if you're an animal, it's like, well, at night, becomes ultimately dangerous. And then, you don't have, the freeway or the express train for if you're a bird, you know what I mean? So it's you got to kind of wave one down. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to get home, and then, it's crazy to me to think about, like, okay, so I'm trying to think of this as like a human. So if I'm a bird or a human, I guess, and the sun goes away and I need to go home, and then I get home and then the sun comes back out, am I like just ready to go back to work? I think the answer is no, because I would use any and every excuse to not go back to work that day. But the birds, man, they got that dog in them. All the animals are coming out today, but they got that dog in them. Well, that's really cool. I also think that, it's like you said, you're trying to take it all in, but this is something that happens. This specific eclipse happens once every 20 years, you said, or something like that?
Well, the next one in the U.S. will be 20 years from now. I think it's supposed to be like, what was it? August 22nd, I believe, 2044. And I think that's going to be going through Montana and one of the Dakotas, either North or South Dakota. I don't.
Gotcha.
And most of it will be in Canada.
And did you hear about your atypical conspiracy theorist folks out there? Like I said, when you're on TikTok, you hear all about, Jesus is coming. This is the day of reckoning. This is, this is never happening. They're going to turn on CERN. Kern? Is it CERN? It's CERN. They're going to turn on CERN, and then they're going to apparently I read somewhere on TikTok, and here's the thing. Ever since I've been doing this podcast with you and Zach, I've been kind of, instead of like kind of jumping both feet in, I've been putting my pinky toe in it, maybe just to see how the water's doing as far as whatever I'm hearing. And I gotta say it, hearing it with a sober mind the next morning, because I'll like these videos and kind of go back and watch them the next day when I'm not necessarily under a certain kind of influence. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what was I thinking? What were they thinking? But I heard too. So they had CERN was going to get turned on. I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. I'm assuming
the Large Hadron Collider.
Is that a real thing?
Yes, it's like a 26-mile long. Well, it's a circle, but it's 26 miles in circumference, and they fire particles at each other. And they do experiments with that.
Gotcha. Is that new?
No.
Okay.
Nope. It's been around for a while.
Gotcha.
I don't know why the fuck they're going to turn it on. It's been on. It's been off and on repeatedly. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. So I heard that was going to get turned on again. I don't know if they're aware of it or not that it does get turned on. But I also heard that NASA was planning on launching, rockets at the moon. No. Okay, here's one thing I want to say. They said that they're going to launch. I read that they're going to launch rockets at the eclipse. And what I think people fail to understand is that that's just launching rockets at the moon. It doesn't really matter where it's lined up. If NASA wants to do it, they could do that any day of the week. So I don't even know where that came from. Like, what's the point? That's like shooting the moon in GTA Vice City when it would get bigger with a sniper, and you can make it bigger when it's a little bit of an Easter egg. Deep cut, I know. But but that's something I'm just kind of like, what are we doing here? What are we talking about? Are you guys seriously hung up on this?
Yeah, so I just looked up the CERN conspiracy, and they're saying that they're going to open up a portal or whatever during the eclipse. Here's what I think is going on. The powers that be, are opening up CERN in coordination with the eclipse to open up a gateway, a portal.
Whenever I hear, here's what I think is going on, I just think of a guy that looks like fucking Hank Hill. Just like, I'll tell you what, I bet all my money that water is poisonous. Things like that. I just picture that for some reason. Not to dig on the people from the South, but,
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, they've already used the Large Hadron Collider to its highest potential. Like, I believe they've already accelerated particles Jesus, that was in cursive. They've already accelerated particles as fast as they can in that accelerator. It's like 99% the speed of light or some shit. And they smash them together and they observe what happens. It's just fucking around unless you're taking notes, and it's science. So that's what they're doing. And sure. It's not new. Hang on, I gotta look how long fucking time.
Don't you ever think though that when something like this ever happens, say it's the eclipse or say it's anything, it's almost like, and I don't know how to say this without being disrespectful, but I think a lot of uneducated people, and by uneducated I mean not necessarily uneducated, but like people that don't want to hear like the logical explanation for something, it almost like we regress to like cavemen days, where it's like well, we're just going to, the moon is going to shift, something that we've seen before as humans. And we're just going to be like, whoa, that's the devil. That's aliens. It's like, come on, guys, what are we doing? Like, we already figured it out. That's not it. We've seen it happen before. It's been recorded. What's different now than it was before? You know what I mean?
Well, you're talking about the eclipse, right? So
yeah, but or like any natural event that happens, and it's like it's the first time in, like, let's say our generational lifetime, but it's not the first time it's ever happened or where it's been recorded. So like these people are like having this brand new thought that it's supernatural or it's abnormal. It's like, no, it's just the way trends happen, patterns in the universe. Like, we're better than that. Stop trying to regress. Stop being a flat earther and going back in time, motherfucker. You know what I mean? It just kind of upsets me because it's like, we have the answer. We don't need to do this anymore. You're the people slowing us down as a species.
So that's one other thing that, by the way, Large Hadron Collider first started operation in 2008.
The recession.
Yeah, that's what did it.
Obama. That was 4 years before. Anyway.
But no, the other, speaking of like people freaking out and like, oh, whatever, Marjorie Taylor Greene also like made that post on Twitter that said, you guys better start repenting, God sending an eclipse and earthquakes and shit. It's like, an eclipse happens every 18 months. Okay. We know, like, we can project out for decades and centuries into the future where and when to see it. And earthquakes, like, we get 4 every day in the US. What the fuck are you talking about? Why should I take you seriously at all ever? You fucking idiot. You can't be bothered to look 2 seconds for the information before you go spouting off a bunch of bullshit. Like, and you make the rules for us. That's fucking insane.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that too. So you have these public figures, political figures too, where it's like, the second you send that tweet, if it didn't happen, like, we'll give you like, it might happen, like, repent, Jesus might come down, sure. But when it doesn't, and I say when, not if, when it doesn't happen, you should be removed from your whatever the fuck you're doing, because you're not smart, and you were, you know what I mean? Like, you were put there to represent people, and you suck at it, and you're not bright. So I don't want you in office. It's like pulling a quarterback. Like, you have this quarterback, first round draft pick. You're like, okay, he's out there, but he's throwing interceptions left and right. Like, dude, I'm going to pull you out of the game. I'm going to put in the backup. I don't care what he might do, but you're done. You know what I mean? You fucked it up enough. Just go away. You're terrible.
Except they're not this fucking starter. They are the backup. Marjorie Taylor Greene shouldn't be a starter.
True. Yeah. So people like that, or even like we have all the dipshits too. I mean, our sister said something too on your way down there to Indiana, where they were like, you know, all the grocery stores in like the heart of Indiana or something like that, they were basically ransacked of supplies, toilet paper, and things like that. But it's like, guys, come on! Like, inflation's too high to be fucking around with like this. You know what I mean?
But there was like shortages.
Right. I'm just saying. So like some asshole, like during COVID, when people would hoard, Purell and things like that, and all the fucking. It's like, guys, just stop. What are you doing? What are we doing here? Why are we regressing like fucking animals and trying to stuff our nuts into a tree? You know what I mean?
I think that put the wrong image in my head.
Yeah, I can tell.
But no, like, speaking of that was one other thing. So we went out to eat the night before, and like, we tried to order some food, and like half the shit on that, like, it was like a dinner meal. So you got like vegetable and like 2 sides in the main dish.
Sure.
And like half the sides were out because they had ordered enough food, or what they thought was enough, to compensate for the more influx of people coming in. But it wasn't enough. There were so many people coming into this fucking area that they just didn't have enough food. And so like, that was a real thing. But to your point, I feel like, I'm sure some of the locals decided to fucking, do their, what the fuck is that called? The prepper route, and order pallets of fucking cheese and shit, hammocks of cake, whatever the fucking units are.
Yeah. Anything but metric. Right.
Right.
Yeah. See, the thing is though, so if I'm a store owner, that would fucking make me the happiest guy. Right. It's like when they host the Super Bowl to every city. Whatever local business is in that area is going to fucking flourish. But realistically, you're fucking everybody else over. So if you're some asshole going to Indiana to watch the moon do its thing, which is fine, Rick, But if you're going there and having fun, you're watching this thing, sure. But if you're the guy that's going to the store and buying up all the toilet paper, all the water, all the fucking, condoms, like, you are the worst person because you're selfish. And you can pride yourself on, and I know the kind of person, I'm not going to say who they are, but that kind of person is like, America first. Okay, well, you're robbing from your neighbor who is also American.
What they mean by that is me first.
Yeah. Me's in America. That's what I really, the A-M-R-I-C-A.
Can't spell America without me and I.
I don't know. That stuff just bugs me. But I see all these people. It's always like, again, it's that guy from Facebook with the sunglasses and the hat on, fucking on TikTok being like, guess what? Guess what's happening this Saturday? Okay, that's all I have. But that guy's the one fucking, yo, laughed at me. No, we're still laughing at you, dude. You just have a platform where other idiots are on your page now supporting you. Oh, man, I don't know. All right. I'll tone her down a little bit because that shit just bugs me. I can't stand it. But you had a good time.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it was definitely worth the trip. I had a lot of fun. Yeah. The only fucking shitty part was on the way back was the traffic. But
oh, sure.
That's to be expected. All in all, good time.
Did you see any plates? Like Indiana's like the heart of the country, right?
Kinda.
It's in the long region.
I mean, it's more to the east, but there's a lot of plates there. There was fucking Iowa, South Dakota, Minnesota, obviously, Wisconsin, Illinois, Ohio, Texas, just for some reason. I guess maybe they saw it was going to be cloudy in Texas, so they said, fuck it, let's go to Indiana. I think there was one New Jersey plate. A lot of fucking people, man. It was crazy.
Well, that's good, though. I mean, yeah, I wish I could have seen it. I tried to. That was my first day at my new job. We'll get into that in a little bit, though. But
smooth segue.
Yeah. Well, fuck it. Hey, that is the next one on the list. Look at that. But no, I tried to watch the clips, but because I'm working from home now, which is different. But I went outside; it was too cloudy, and I think it looked a little different for a little bit outside because I kept my window open that day, but I couldn't really tell, so that's disappointing. But yeah, so I started a new job. I'm working from home now. It's a bit of it's a lot of a culture change, I'd say. Obviously, I think anybody would say that. But going to an office every single day where you see people, you have conversations, whether it's because I'm in HR, whether it's an issue or whether it's just cordial. That's something that is missed, I will say, my first 2 weeks now. So I definitely miss that. But I think what I like about it is, obviously, and this isn't saying anything out of school, but my fucking sleep schedule. I don't have to wake up at the ass crack of dawn anymore. I don't have to drive 45 minutes to get to work. So what I do now, and what I told myself beforehand, so I just saw a TikTok of this, actually. I got to get off that, I tell you. But my first day, I was early. I logged in. I was going to say I got there. I logged in at fucking 7 o'clock. It doesn't start till 8. And I just sat there. I was like, yeah. So the next day and everything after that, I've been waking up at 7:55, walking across the house and getting plopping my ass down on the chair and looking at a screen for 8 hours. But one thing that I have been doing is going on a walk with my dog, Rusty, to the park on my lunch break. So I have an hour lunch break. I'll walk with him. I'm really trying to get those steps in, and then I'll go to the gym with Kaylee, shout out, when she gets home and things like that. But I think that was the ultimate change. What I'm trying to do is do more in the morning, So it's like I can stay up later too now because I'm already at home. Like there's no worry for, let's be honest, your work from home is a lot easier than anything else. Like regardless of what you're doing, it's just ultimately easier showing up, waking up, and you're already at work. But with that being said, I'd like to add some more routines in the morning. I don't know where I'm going with this, so just bear with me here. But one thing that I've been doing is having coffee with Kaylee on the deck every morning and just kind of just looking around, touching grass, so to speak, instead of always being on my phone, always being on some electronic device, because it's so much better, dude. I feel like I'm happier. I feel like I am just enjoying instead of driving somewhere, coming back, being too tired to do anything, throwing the bone with Rusty and going to bed. But yeah, that's just kind of been my experience so far. But yeah.
I just wanted to say that sounds like a good fucking podcast name. Coffee with Kaylee.
Oh yeah, look at that. I'll write it down. Yeah, she's been really appreciating too the work from home from my end, because it's also, I'm in training mode now. So the last 2 weeks I've been picking up the house, I've been doing laundry and things like that, and then also still getting all my shit done. So that's different. I will say, ladies and gentlemen, let me be clear. So I don't work at that office anymore, but I'm still at the company, and I've been getting a lot of emails from my not my old team, so to speak, but like people that from my, it's hard to say this without giving it away, at the other location that this company resides in. So that's fine and dandy, because if you're a production operator and you don't get those salaried announcements, right? So that's fine. But if you're a salaried person and you saw me and you congratulated me and you knew I was leaving, stop fucking emailing me, because I don't want to be the dick. Here's the thing. You're making it weird for me. I get you have a question. That's fine. But now I got to tell you, basically, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like I've been told by my boss, I can't help anybody there anymore, because then it'll bog down everything, because then I'll be working both jobs. So it's like, okay, so I'll help them enough to like get them the answer, but then be like, hey, in the future, you know, utilize the other people that still are in HR at that place. But then I get a fucking Teams message from my coworker who was at that plant. And it rubbed me raw, man. I tell you that. So I sent this lady, you know, the supervisor, to her. I said, hey, you know, reach out to this person if you need help in the future. And then all of a sudden I get a Teams message that says, so you're pawning her off on me? And I'm like, I don't know if you heard.
So I says the guy says.
Smells like sex in here. So I told her, I said, I'm not pawning her off on you. I said, now you got to help these people. This just sucks. All right. So for those of you playing at home, I just beat the shit out of my microphone on accident, and I broke the cocksucker. So I am now on mic number 2 out of 3. And if it gets any more wild, you know, you get a good episode. So
might double team it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so if you're listening, a Shure microphone is sure as shit going to get you in some trouble, because this is now the second time I'm going to have to send a microphone in to get fixed. And this time the USB receiver, if you will, when you plug in to it, snapped
female
off.
End.
What?
The female end.
The female end broke off, and the condom is now stuck inside of it. So, so I got to send that in. You hear that? Okay, well, you didn't hear that, but I was rattling it like a baby. Anyway, but...
And beat the shit out of it is an overstatement. He, like, grazed it with his hand, and the fucking cord got pulled out, and it snapped the fucking receiver off.
Yeah, man. So...
The $300 microphone, or however much you paid for it, should be able to fucking stand up to that a little better, I would say.
Yeah, it's $300. But... all right, I'll let you know how it goes, though, everybody. But, so where were we? Oh, yeah, so working from home, old jobs, same people, same attitudes. But I know who else works from home. The President of the United States. At least
Smooth segue number 2.
So I just wanted to, I was talking to my girlfriend, Kaylee, about this a couple days ago, and I got really frustrated because I was looking at the ages, and I told her, I was like, you know, the last president that I really A, looked up to, and B, respected was probably Obama. I just, you know, because he was a smooth talker, but he was calm. He was a leader. He wasn't a bully, and he was, you know, I thought pretty, I don't know what the right word is. I guess younger than everybody else, so it was easier to relate to him. Because he was 57 or so when he was elected president, and our two candidates that are in the running right now are 81 and 77, with Donald J. Trump being 77 and of course Joe Biden being 81. So if Biden gets elected again, he's going to be 85 years old when he's done being president. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we go back in time, he is the same. No, I'll jump to Donnie T, because he's more than likely going to get elected out of spite. I hope to God that's not the case, but that's more than likely going to be the case. But I want to say this, ladies and gentlemen, let me be clear. Donald Trump, and I'm sure we've talked about it before, is the same age as Bill Clinton, as George W. Bush. So whenever So think about that. So why I'm bringing that up is because 30 years ago, Bill Clinton was our president. Then it was
Yep.
George Sr., right? No, it was George Sr., then Clinton, and then it was Bush. W. That guy. So we've
Watch
had
this
this.
drive.
We've had the same, and let's just say this too. They all more than likely went to the same college, and that was around like Georgetown. Like they all went to the same college. Trump went to what? Did he go to West Point? I can't remember,
I
but
don't fucking know, man.
some rich person's school, and then he acts like the everyman, hugging the flag like a douche. But so why I bring that up and why it frustrates me so goddamn much, and I'm not saying anything that everybody else isn't saying. We've had the same brain, the same economic upbringing, the same fucking version of a person in office since 1995.
From the same era.
From the same era. And we have, I mean, Christ, Clinton shook hands with John F. Kennedy, right? When he was a kid. We're at the point now where that same brain, that same person in a different body, kinda, again, political values change and whatnot over time, but they're still running for president. Like, those are the best candidates we have. We have Donald Trump, a reality TV star, same age as George W. Bush, same age as Bill Clinton, running against an 81-year-old old man who's been in Congress for almost 50 years. Ladies and gentlemen, what the hell are we doing? What are we doing? It's so sickening. I can't wait 20 years from now when I'm 44 years old and the next eclipse is happening, and I got to explain to everybody, hey, remember 20 years ago we saw this? It's not Jesus. It's just the moon. So when I'm telling those same people who voted for Trump, subtle dig there, all right, but when I'm telling those people 20 years from now, I'll be so relieved knowing that more than likely Donald Trump will be dead. Biden will be dead. We won't have to reelect these fucking geriatric douchebags anymore running this country. I'll be 44 years old, and I'll be excited for a 50 to 60-year-old person to get into office. And I'm not advocating for death, because death isn't something to joke about. But I'm telling you, that's the only way these fucking power-hungry, dynasty-looking motherfucking fascists are looking at this goddamn country. They're running it. They've all been the same fucking person. And they're not doing anything. And again, not saying anything new to your average listener, but I just want to say this. If you have an inkling of running for office, if you have some sort of desire, start local, I don't care, but bring some fresh blood into the fucking game. Because guess what, folks, not Jeff Schneider, who the fuck is the guy? Rob Schneider. You know, Adam Sandler's buddy, who's in every movie.
You can do it.
That motherfucker stated, and he's voting for Robert F. Kennedy, and that's a whole other story. But,
oh boy.
But what he said kind of resonated a little bit. We have a two-party system. Basically, the only real chance of being a president is the two-party system, and that's being a Democrat or a Republican. That's one more party than your criticized Communist Party. That's one more party. What makes us different? Because we have freedoms? Absolutely. But at some point in time, it's going to catch up where these two fucking parties, they're not going to cut anymore. Because you can't be like, well, blue no matter who, red till I'm dead. You can't do that anymore. You can't. We got to do something different. Again, this is just a wild rant for me. But Rick, it looks like you want to say something.
So on paper, I agree with you.
Giddy up. All right, we'll see you later, everybody.
But until the way in which we elect people changes, I don't think that we'll ever be we won't get rid of the two-party system until we have something like ranked choice voting or whatever the hell else that gives you more ways to fucking vote for more people, right? You know, have you heard of ranked choice voting?
Yep.
So
but for those of you listening at home that don't understand it.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it's basically, so say you got 5 candidates and, you know, you really want candidate, let's say 3 to win. So you say, I want 3 to win, but if he doesn't win or she doesn't win, I want 1 to win and then 4 to win. And, you know, you rank your choices in whatever order you want. And then, so if one doesn't win, well, then your vote goes to the next person. And if they don't win, then your vote goes to the next person. It's a way where your voice can still, like, you can still tell, you know, have your voice be heard in a democracy. And it's not just a 1 or a 0. Which I think is important. Nuance is important, even in your vote. But Eric, I was also going to say to bring up your issues with age is that it's not just presidents either. You know, fucking Mitch McConnell's 82 years old. We have old geriatric fucks in Congress as well. And then Supreme Court justices are there for life. For fucking life. And they don't retire at 65. I can promise that won't fucking happen.
Right.
And so, yeah.
So that's another thing I struggle with too. So we have these, and I've definitely said this on the Brain Void before, but we have companies out there, giant Fortune 500 companies, that when you are running that company, and that's basically being like in charge of a small country for argument's sake, you have to be, unless there's a special accommodation of sorts, you have to be done holding that spot at 65 years old, the national average retiring age at this point in time. And that's part of the contract. Again, unless there's extenuating circumstances, like say the company's doing super well, we don't want you to leave, are you open to, you know what I mean? So there's that. But it also gives the company a breath of fresh air where it's like, okay, well, we're not going to fire you, but you're done. You're done. And we're going to get somebody younger in for sure. Right. So that helps. But to your point, Rick, these people that are holding these, was it Supreme Court justice that stays there until they die, right? That's what you said?
Or they step down, yeah.
Sure.
They don't step down until they're like fucking 90.
Yeah, when they physically can't perform the job anymore. So to put it in, again, football analogy, I have Tom Brady. He's great. He's won 7, 8 Super Bowls now, but he's 60 years old at this point, for argument's sake. Are we really going to run him out there and get fucking tackled by a fucking 21-year-old defensive end? The answer is no. He's not going to play anymore. Your brain is that old too. So these guys that are holding all these offices and things like that until they're fucking 81 years old, Biden, again, I voted for him, sure. But at the end of the day, the motherfucker can't find his way off a stage that he walked on 20 minutes before he gave a speech. He's not an ideal candidate anymore. Policies aside, he can't, I just don't think he can run the country. All right? Again, I don't know. I don't really know where I was going with that, but I'll let you jump in here.
One of the crucial differences between Biden and Trump, I would say, is that I feel like Biden can recognize his own limitations still, and that still takes some cognitive ability. You need to be like, I'm not an expert here. I'm going to surround myself with the experts to try and still make the best choice. Like, he's self-aware enough to do that. Donald Trump thinks he's an expert in everything. No one's seen, I've been told I'm the greatest ever at this, or whatever the fuck he says. I'm sorry, I can't do the Trump impression like Eric, but he says that, and it's just like he didn't want to be wrong about where the hurricane was going to go. Remember that? He drew on the map with the Sharpie. It's like, no, I wasn't wrong. Look, they added this last minute. And he was wrong because it didn't go there, but he couldn't fucking admit he was wrong.
Yeah, man. And
so that's a huge part of even being president, even young or old, whatever. And I don't think we should impose like immovable age restrictions. I think there should be cognitive ability tests. If you can pass this test, you can be president. If you can show that you're up to fucking snuff with doing the hardest job in the world, even if you are 80, then take the test and pass, and then you can be voted for. But I do think that too many people are getting in and staying in office well past their prime and well past their ability to effectively be responsible for that position.
Yeah, so I just, dude, I don't know. And like I said, I was going off on a rant in front of Kaylee, and I said some pretty, if my phone was listening in that moment, I'd probably be on a watch list at this point. But it's almost like these people are insane, and by these people, I'm talking like the 65 plus people that are in office right now, 65 in age. Because at some point in time, you're holding on to power. And we saw that from, we thought at this point, I guess I used to be a big history buff, but now I just kind of fell off. But I'm just thinking, are we really doing this again? Are we doing this again? So we have all these fucking old sons of bitches in office forever making laws to benefit them and their boys and their fucking companies to get more money. It's almost like, isn't that primitive at this point? Like, why are we so still focused on like money and like being like monopolizing everything? Big corporations.
It's the same reason why those assholes were hoarding shit at Costco. You bring it back to the eclipse and the toilet paper and the fucking pandemic, because our fucking monkey brains hoard, like, we're programmed to hoard resources if we can.
Right.
Well, the ultra wealthy can spend their money to make more money and get more of that resource. That is the most important resource in our society, is money. And so, there's that. Mr. Burns was, on The Simpsons always said, "I'd trade it all for a little more," But there's fucking truth in that. Like that's why they do it. And that and corporations, their only reason for existing is to make more money, to charge you just enough where you won't say no, and pay their employees just enough where they won't quit.
Right.
And try and squeeze them that much more, and squeeze any fucking dollar out of everyone they can. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. And like, I don't want to buy from fucking big companies anymore. Like at all. I don't want to support that as much, and I know that's impossible, right? But to as much as I can, I want to start looking for the little guy.
Sure.
Because I'm so fucking tired of just being a cog in this machine. And then at some CEO asshole's fucking whim, they fucking wake up and someone pissed in their Wheaties or whatever, and all of a sudden I don't have a job.
Right.
Or whatever the fuck else, we're gonna contract this out and you're not needed anymore. It's like, I don't want to be beholden to these fuckers if I can help it.
And they've manipulated the game of life to like you said, I don't want to buy from big corporations anymore. And all they're gonna do is laugh. Okay, good luck. We're everywhere. Yeah. We've dominated the industry for years. We're gonna keep dominating it. And everything you touch, everything that's in your yard is either small business about to be bought out probably, or large corporations still. They're fucking everywhere. I remember as a kid, 15 years ago, I remember going to Walmart and Target and these things that our family at least didn't necessarily go to all the time. And it was different shit. It's different shit everywhere. But now you go to your local grocery store, and we're from Foley and things like that. It's the same shit. It's the same shit there. It's the same shit there. There's nothing anymore that kind of isolates small business from big business. At least it's growing to that point, I guess. So it's so we have these small grocery stores that are okay, well, the only way we're going to survive is if we start bringing in this company's shit because that's what's selling right now. We can't avoid it. Right. It's the system is rigged against anything. I don't know. I guess I'm losing myself again here, but I fucking hate that about my brain, dude. I'll start off on a goddamn topic and guns a-blazing, and all of a sudden halfway through I'm doing this because I forgot what I was going to say. Long story longer, big corporations are fucking, big corporations are fucking, are robbing us. And like you said too, these people, they're built to make money for as long as they can and as much as they can.
Not even as long as they can. It's so fucking short-sighted. Again, just make the shareholders happy this quarter, even if it's at the expense for the following quarter. You're going to pay for this in 2 quarters, but this quarter looked good. That's all that fucking matters. Yeah. That's all that matters. Yeah. Your employees, your long-term plan, all that be damned, as long as this quarter we look good.
Right.
So they're setting themselves up to go under. All corporations and companies do that, especially public companies.
Yeah. And then they have the golden parachute, so to speak, because they'll be saved. They'll be picked up by another big corporation. Of course, they
take care of themselves 100%. They'll take care of the people at the top. But everyone else that works for them gets fucked.
Yeah. Well, you should have pulled yourself up more by the bootstraps and got where I got with all my fuck. It's the same fucking... But here's the thing, Rick. Here's what frustrates me, because we've always seemingly... At some point, whether it's on the podcast or outside the podcast, we as in the general we talk about this shit as semi-educated people. It's there's got to be something better. We're always talking about this shit. I'm thinking, what's the solution? What's the solution? Because I'm fucking tired, like you said, being a cog in the machine where at some point in time, it's not a matter of if they get rid of you, it's when they get rid of you. It's when they get to that breaking point of outsourcing to some fucking poor country so they can pay less for their work.
Right.
Which is unethical as hell, but it's every business. If you're not doing that in business, you're dumb and you're looked down on and you're not going to make as much money and you're never going to be successful.
Oh.
No, I'm saying if you're competing with the big businesses, right?
Right.
Same thing
Yeah.
with fucking prescription drugs too. Talked about it before, but we're a society built on fear. Fear being we got to go to our jobs, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to have a home, we got to do this. There's expectations there. We got to fulfill those expectations, and then we get to a point too where it's like, okay, well, if we're not fulfilling that expectation, now we start having these anxieties and these mental illnesses start to develop. And then what else is contributing to that? A poor diet, non-exercise. Why aren't you exercising? Because I'm depressed. Why are you depressed? Because all I eat is junk food. Because I have no motivation. It's a constant cycle, and it's exactly where they want us to be. And that's almost the entire country. And the only people that aren't like that, I would say the large majority of people that aren't like that are either they're super rich or liberals in a way, because they do their best not to be, just anyway. But I guess my point is here, it's like we're in that sweet spot of capitalism, I guess. And it's
I would say we're in late stage capitalism. This can't keep happening. I say the sweet spot was fucking 40 years ago.
Well, I meant like if you're a company.
Oh yeah, then it's fucking golden era.
Yeah, you're making hay while the sun's shining, and it's an artificial sun brought to you by Pfizer. You know what I mean? So it's just like everything's bought and owned, and everything's going to cost you. There's always a subscription. We go away from cable TV to get away from ads, and then ads come to streaming services. It's a cancer. It's poison. It's a plague of capitalism, just weeding their ways. Your phone listens to you. That's ethical now? Like, I'm not one of the tinfoil hat people, but it fucking listens to you. That's uncomfortable. You know how much shit I talk about? I said some bullshit the other day that, like I said, would get me on a goddamn watch list if the right person was listening. But then they have that record forever. We have Mark Zuckerberg, that alien-looking fuck who is guilty as shit for selling everybody's fucking information. But here we are, still on Facebook. You can bet your bird I'm on Facebook seeing the next best thing from my fucking classmate that I never talked to, but I got to stay in competition with them. Otherwise, I'm a failure. And I'm a failure not through my eyes, but I'm a failure through everybody else's eyes.
You're on TikTok, Eric. That's the thing. Like, people willingly give this shit up.
Right. And I'm not saying I'm fucking perfect, by the way.
No, I know. I get what you're saying. I'm just pointing out how easy it is to get addicted to that shit. And it is addicting. They take advantage of that. That's why they listen to you.
Right.
That's why, they have algorithms paying attention to what you click on and what you watch so they can give you more, because if you watch more, they get more money.
But you know what? You know what's fucking wild about that shit, though? Is like they not only like listen and watch and things like that, but when you're on Facebook and you're spending maybe a millisecond longer on, let's say, a picture, 8 more of those pictures will be in the next 4 scrolls of different. Let's say it's a celebrity. Let's say I'm like Elvis. Elvis pops up on my Facebook a lot. I'll scroll. I'll see a picture of him. Okay, I'll look and be like, oh, that's a cool jumpsuit. And then I'll scroll. Elvis again, different jumpsuit. I'll look again, and then he's there again. So it's not like I'm liking it. I'm not interacting with the post at any. But it's the measuring how long it's on my fucking screen.
Right.
This is what this person likes. That's fucking insane. If we can do that, why can't we cure cancer? If we can do that, why can't we make food that isn't going to fucking, you know what I mean?
It doesn't make money.
But that's the thing. So money is the fucking, oh my, dude, this is, I don't even know.
I shouldn't say that. It would make, I'm sure they would capitalize on it, but it's easier to have the algorithm pay attention to how long shit's on your screen than it is to cure cancer.
Right. But then we have like the scientists with CERN throwing particles at, trying to make, like literally throwing shit at a wall, seeing if it sticks. Dude, harness that fucking brain power into something else.
It's a little more complicated than that, Eric.
I know.
They're studying particle physics and
I know. A lot of this is I'm oversimplifying it the fuck out of it, but I'm just trying to say, like, as a society, we are way better than what we're doing. We're settling as humans, and that's not just the USA. That's everybody. If we can fucking if I get upset because the Wi-Fi isn't as strong as it was the day before, and we have people in Africa dying of starvation and thirst, what are we doing as humans? You know what I mean? What are we doing? Why are we still allowing genocide to happen? Oh, it's not part of the Allies, so you can't do it. Babies are dying, and we can't do anything about it because it might affect our geopolitical bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right. So, I mean, right now, we pretty much have the ability to solve all of the things that humanity's dealing with right now. We just lack the willpower to do it. So, we could solve world hunger. We could solve climate change. We could solve wars and all that shit. Wars and stuff would be a little harder because you got the whole religious aspect of it. But for the most part, we could solve a lot of fucking issues if we just collectively decided to, but we just don't.
Yeah. Isn't that depressing?
Yeah. Well, that goes back to, I was going to say this earlier. Why do you think so many people are starting to live on the simpler lives now? Like, we have access to the most technology we've ever had, and people my age, including me, are getting fucking chickens, are growing their own food, are trying to subside by simpler means without having to rely on some fucking asshole corporation, right? I'll just do it myself.
Right.
And it's a lot more fulfilling. And that is that in and of itself is a small fucking win, where I could say, hey, I did this myself, and I didn't rely as much on some fucking asshole corporation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, I don't know where I read it last or saw it somewhere, but, people are getting alarmed at the lack of, in the United States, the lack of pregnancies that are occurring. Right? Because people aren't having babies anymore, or they're doing their best not to have babies. Obviously, there's other circumstances, but I'm just saying, if you're a heterosexual couple, like the situation I'm in right now, we're not jumping at the bit to get married and have kids because
you can't afford it.
You can't afford it. It's financially not sustainable, and it's something that if we did that, it would almost be socially irresponsible, because then you're setting yourself up for failure, and then you're setting that kid up for failure, and it's just a long fucking line in the ghetto type bullshit.
Right.
Ghetto.
And what's the motivation? You bring another kid into this world, so they could turn into another cog in the machine?
Right.
Until they're used up and they're no longer useful, and then they get discarded like we will?
Right.
What's the end goal here? Man, we need Zach to fucking liven it up here a little bit, not be so fucking depressing.
Well, man, I'm using this as an outlet at this point, because this shit has been it's almost like, I don't even know, man. Usually I'm pretty quick to be like, you know what, I can't control it, fuck it, or I'm too lazy to give a fuck. But it's almost that's what they want, and then I'll vote for somebody, and it either won't count, get lost, or bullshit. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. My voice is not heard because I don't have enough money. And that's what I'm trying to, I guess, say right now. Again, I'm at this point in my life where I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life, and it's not enough. I'm panicking. I used to think if I ever got to this point financially, I'd be fucking set. I'd be going to Mexico every other week. I'd be fucking, doing everything. But no, I got to count my fucking berries and make sure that I have enough to last the winter. That's where I'm at right now. And it's a long winter. It's going to be 40 more years of this winter. So I don't know. What's positive out there in political news?
Oh, I had one more story about, or one more funny thing that happened during the eclipse.
Sure.
So I believe this was in Florida, obviously. So this lady was sure that the eclipse meant that she was going to get raptured. And so, with that information, quote unquote, in mind, she decided to, when she'd go out to eat at a restaurant or whatever, she'd leave $1,000 tips. And basically just gave a shitload of money away. I don't know if it was all her money or what, but it was a lot. And then the eclipse happened, and she didn't get raptured. And now she's going around asking for those $1,000 tips back.
But you know what's funny about that? Is that woman is she a renowned woman? Does she make a lot of money?
I don't know.
Probably not is going to be my bet. And for the sake of this argument, I'm going to run with that. So you have this probably upper middle class person, devout Christian, more than likely, if they're talking about raptures, thinking the eclipse is going to save her. So what she does, instead of just waiting in her house for it to happen, she's trying to give out all of her shit. Would you ever see Jeff Bezos do that? Would you ever see anybody worth a damn that their net worth is over $10 ever fucking do that? The answer is no. You'd never see that happen. And that speaks volumes to her character. And I get it. Now she's going around with her tail between her legs. I get it. But she was a believer. She believed something. And she's like, fuck it. I don't need this shit anymore. You know what I mean?
So I guess it was just one tip or two tips. So she was nice, but this is the server that served this person. She was nice, but kept trying to proselytize to me. Her bill came to $40, to which she added a $300 tip and wrote on the receipt, in case you don't rise on the 8th. The woman returned a few days later and tipped another $777. When the rapture didn't happen, the woman returned to claw back her tip, accusing the restaurant changed the tip amount.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, she can go to hell. Don't come back with your tail between your legs. Be like, well, actually, they lied. They lied, and I want my money back. Okay. That's something. Now that's something a millionaire would do. That's Donnie T to a fucking T, if you will. I can't believe it. So she went back and said, these people making less than minimum wage are lying, even though on the receipt it says, in case you don't rise. Unbelievable.
Maybe that's why she didn't rise, is because that was really what she would do after the fact.
Jesus knows this has been a test. You failed, lady. You failed. Now, will you go to hell? Probably not. It's more of a pay-to-play situation. But I don't know. But let's end on something positive here. So we have the Eclipse app, and that's pretty cool. Working from home has taught me to look around, smell the grass a little bit more, smell the flowers. Like Ferris Bueller said, if you don't look around once in a while, you just might miss it. So that's kind of my positive thing. Everybody look around, appreciate the world around us. Help a friend, help a neighbor, help somebody in the streets that might be down on their luck. But don't get too close, because you never know. But no, I don't know, man. I've been working from home, seeing my dog more, being outside, smelling fresh air. You know, it's something that it's chicken noodle soup for the soul is what it is. So, Rick?
Put the 2044 eclipse in your calendar. If you can, I think you should maybe try and get into Canada to see it. If not, Montana and the western side of North Dakota, you'll be able to see it in totality. Go see it. It's really fucking cool, and it might just change your mindset on things.
Alrighty, perfect. Well, thanks for dropping in. We'll see where this goes. If it doesn't go anywhere, well, you're used to it. All right, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.